Welcome to Theme and Variation.
Theme and Variation is a podcast about movies in which we dissect movies and talk about the themes that we find in them and whatnot.
What's a variation episode?
What's a variation episode?
Yeah,
Good question.
To do that.
Well, I was waiting for someone to ask, actually.
Okay.
No, variation episode is where we just kind of talk about the movie, have fun with it. We don't really necessarily go into the themes a whole lot. But today, we are definitely doing a theme episode.
Yes, absolutely.
Content warning.
Yeah. This movie does tackle topics like rape and war. So if that's not something you're down to listen to, maybe skip this one.
Yeah, it's going to have a very, very serious tone to it. If you are going to join us, though, welcome. I'm Michael.
Yeah. This is one of the most interesting movies we've seen in a while. Oh, also, I'm Cole.
It was pretty interesting. Also, I'm Christian.
That it was. So what movie are we doing?
We're doing Incendies, directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
One of his earlier movies.
2010.
2010.
Yeah, we will not make that mistake again.
We?
Well, by we, I mean Cole.
Speaking of we, this movie is spoken entirely in French.
There's one line of English.
What is it?
Yeah,
and
where
there's
she's
a
like-
lot of
she's like,
Radiohead music in English.
There are not one but two separate Radiohead songs in this movie.
There's 3 times it plays, though. It plays the same song twice.
Yeah, it does.
A lot of Radiohead in
It's
this movie.
you and Whose Army, I think is the song.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
It does have there's
the song.
2 tracks to the score, the actual score to it though, which are very
Reminiscent
really
of Lord of the Rings.
It does.
I Am
does.
Legend.
It does sound a lot like Lord of the Rings.
Let's kind of get
The
into
Halo
it, but
2 menu.
Not that.
You agreed with me when I said
I
it.
did agree with you.
And now you oppose me?
No.
Okay.
What did you guys think of the movie? Well, let's kind of start
blew
there.
me away.
Wild.
Absolutely
Yeah, I
blew
don't
me
know.
away.
Definitely.
This has been one of the most emotionally draining movies I've seen in a long time. Like,
Absolutely.
I haven't had a movie in a while that I've had to just like sit and process.
Knowing nothing about it going into it as well, then like, oh, this is directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, I
was
like Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, no,
Whoa!
he's,
By the end of it,
Just
yeah,
always A+ movies.
So
every single time.
This
from
movie is
Danny.
based on a play directed by Wajdi Mouawad, I think. And it's a lot based on his life. Some of it is anyway. Like, I think the basic concept of it, because he grew up in Lebanon, and the movie is kind of about the Lebanese Civil War without.
in a way.
In a way, yeah.
It is.
In some
I guess
ways,
the setting
you could say
is.
inspired
It's
by
almost
So it
as
is.
if-
The setting is fictitious because
Yeah,
it's
the
not.
places aren't.
It's
real.
never really specific
The
with
setting
the
is
actual
the Middle
place,
East.
other than we know that they're from
But
Canada.
The
you know.
framing device is absolutely with the Lebanese Civil War, which we're not going to get super into because it's a very complicated topic. And the movie is mostly about the people caught up in the conflict rather than the conflict itself,
Absolutely.
I would say.
So themes. What did we think for the themes of this? So let you take this one, Cole, because you had the.
I think I definitely
the first theme we saw.
The thing I saw, and I think it was solidified when Nawal, the mother, it's a flashback with her, and the bus gets attacked and everything, and then after that scene, it's like transitions over to her daughter Jean on the bus just sleeping, and I think a lot of this movie's about how we don't really understand the lives that our parents led before we came into the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
we don't understand what our parents went through or who they were.
This is like the extreme of that.
Yeah. Well, it absolutely is the extreme of that.
Yeah.
There were some things. I totally agree with it. I think that's probably what we'll tackle today. There was a lot of little themes that you could see, little thematic devices, I should say, like the cross.
It's a motif. I
A
think.
motif, thematic
Yeah,
device, motif,
More
and
like the crucifix, the pool,
the crucifix, and the math. I think comes back that.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was the deal with that problem? The 1 + 1 equals
God.
So
1.
none
You're
of
gonna
us
ask me about that, right?
understood it.
Yeah, this is an IMDb trivia fact,
It
but I think it's cool.
It was
nonetheless.
cool watching it again and knowing the context. I suspected I wondered if there was something like that had to do
I
with
was
the
It's
math.
a
trying-
complicated problem that can equal like the outcome is 1, and that comes back later. How can
Which
1
means
+ 1
that
equal
God
1?
exists.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, no, that's a different.
That's a different one.
yeah. No, it's I really liked that because that is kind of the whole discovery at the end of the movie that you find out. in
Yeah,
fact,
so
1
watching
+
it
1 is
again,
1.
There were, like the stuff like that where you're like, Denis Villeneuve, you clever son of a bitch.
Yeah, you clever son of a bitch who just scarred me emotionally.
Yeah.
from this,
Oh, you got me good on this one,
yeah.
Denny. I'm not okay.
His heaviest movie for me, I think.
yeah,
probably.
for sure.
And that's saying a lot because I mean,
got some heavy-
prisoners.
Prisoners very heavy.
Enemy is
I
pretty
think this
heavy
is one
too.
of his most theatrical movies, and that shows because it's based on a play. It feels like theater.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
It definitely
Like,
with like the
it's
breaks that it has when she's going to
Mhm.
like the different cities feel like, and this is this scene like in
Yeah.
a play.
It very much is dramatic in the way that theater is dramatic.
Yeah.
You know.
Which translates better than, I don't know. I feel like when you have
He
like
pulled it
movie
off.
plays,
He pulled that off really well.
he wrote that line very well. Yeah.
He's a very careful director.
You see, now that I watched it the second time, you go back and you realize it's not actually titles of the places, but it's each character in the introduction
Sometimes
has a
it's
title.
that,
The
but
twins.
yeah.
You actually get Marwal.
Marwal.
She
Nawal
gets
Marwan.
No,
We were so close.
It's a difficult name.
Nawal
Okay.
Marwan.
Nawal Marwan.
Yes,
Okay.
that's her name.
Goodness me.
Why do we always have to say her full name when we're talking
can
about
just
it?
say
Because it's
Nawal.
Nawal.
No,
That's what I'm going to do
Nawal.
because that's easier.
Nawal.
It seems like I run into the complications trying to be
Say-
like,
I think in my
The
brain I
character's name
see the
normally,
M
please.
flip upside down, and it's like it just becomes.
Okay, that's
it's-
bizarre.
It's just a hard. It's a hard.
what he's
name
saying
for
is
me.
he's brutally dyslexic.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
possibly true based on
except
what you've just described to me.
except I speak it instead. It's like dyslexia with my voice.
Okay. Well, what were we even talking about before this?
I don't know.
How like
Yeah,
how
yeah.
It was very.
where are we?
Oh man.
Yeah, so
yeah.
it translates very well. I feel like a lot of this episode is us just gonna be like, oh, good job, Denis Villeneuve, which is fair enough.
He deserves as many
Yeah.
good jobs as he can
I'd
possibly
like to
get.
pat
man.
that man's back.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think it sets the tone really well too. I don't know. There's kind of an ominous foreboding over most of the movie too.
Yeah.
Like from the opening scene, we see
It's got a vibe.
the child soldiers, getting his head shaved, and it's close up on the heel with the 3 dots
Yeah.
tattoo, and that has no significance to us yet.
Had no
But
significance to me.
that's the thing. You just
The first time, yeah, 'cause
well because it is drawn. There's a tension drawn to it, and so you're thinking, okay, it doesn't mean anything
It's
yet.
gonna
But
be
clearly,
important,
that's
yeah.
going to be important.
Also,
so.
Christian's
Chekhov's
referring
heel
to
tattoo.
yeah,
wait, what?
Chekhov's
Chekhov's heel tattoo.
Also, Chris is referring to the fact that he fell asleep during the whole first half of this movie the first time we tried to watch it.
Yeah, and almost the
Yeah,
second time
he
too.
does have a heart condition, so don't hold it against
Yeah.
him.
I hold it against him. Anyways, yeah. So okay, so I think we're good with that theme too. So
Yeah.
shall we get into
The
it?
one other
We'll get
thing I
into
wanted
this.
to-
Oh yeah, no,
Oh,
go,
yeah, yeah.
go.
just while we're on like
I
the
want to talk
good,
about this movie. There's so
like
much to talk
how
about.
kind of just like the aspects of the film. Technically, I feel like the use of flashback and the way that it's not like a fade to white, like we're in the past
Yeah,
now.
I like how
The
jarring,
way that it's jarring.
like it takes you a second to like establish what set of characters are we with.
Yeah.
right
That's
now.
exactly it.
Because
yeah, you're not
there's
really
no
sure at first.
there's no color palette change. There's no like
Aspect ratio
transition.
change.
Yeah, there's nothing to really indicate that it's happening until you're like, okay, these are the characters.
I think we were talking
with
about this.
Nawal
I
again.
think we were talking about this after we watched the movie yesterday.
No, we were
It's
talking
like-
about it when we tried to record this the first time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So right before. Denis Villeneuve, his movies it's like they never go up their own ass. It's like I don't feel like they're really any pretentious.
he's a
they're
really
they're so
smart
well
director.
done.
I don't know.
And it's never the movie's never saying too much to the audience, but it's also never.
Not saying enough.
Well,
either.
yeah.
Here's the thing: he's a really smart director, but his intention is never like, look how clever I'm being right now. He just wants to tell a good story.
Exactly. It is. I think he's really focused on the art form of filmmaking itself.
And I think that's why he comes across so like intelligent, I guess.
the Radiohead choice was interesting. I'll
It
say
was
that.
2010.
Yeah, I know.
It was
I like
2010.
it. Hey,
That's
I
a
like
fine
it. It's
song.
interesting.
I don't know.
Weird, but
yeah, it works.
It did work
Yeah.
in like a Hamilton way.
What?
I've never seen Hamilton.
I
I
have.
don't know what you're
I have,
talking
and
about,
I
then.
actually agree with that.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say, I was
yeah,
like, I feel like I'm right, but I don't know
you
why.
kind of are because I saw Hamilton and it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Okay,
and
cool.
I can see.
I was
why
like,
it
I
gets-
feel like this
Very
is.
highly acclaimed.
I can see why.
Yeah,
it's
I was like, I
highly
feel like
acclaimed,
this
so.
is a correct statement, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know why.
Okay.
I'd agree.
All right, cool. There we
Okay.
go. Moving on.
I'll shake your hand.
All right.
All right.
No hands were shaken.
Yes.
Hands were shaking.
Well, we'll get into the opening scene then. We see, the child soldiers over the Radiohead song.
Jeez, what a sentence. what a 2010
Yeah, yeah.
sentence. So we see the image of the child soldiers over the Radiohead.
Over
song.
Radiohead.
They're getting their head shaved, close up on that 3 dots tattoo, and that
Yeah.
will be again significant later. Then we cut to a pair of twins, and they're in the notary's office, and
It's a very notary heavy movie.
You think it's
Maybe the most
saying
notary
something
heavy
about
movie.
notaries?
No. But we find out their mother just died.
Yeah.
And the notary is reading them her will, and it's really
Pretty
bizarre
wacky.
off the bat.
So so the whole will is basically saying she doesn't want a proper funeral, right? She wants
Wants to be
almost
buried naked, upside down,
No headstone.
And she can have the headstone
Facing the ground.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
upside down,
facing
yeah.
away from the world.
But they can earn her
No
headstone.
epitaph. She says, no gravestone, no epitaph, or something like that for those who
for people
don't keep their promises.
because
So.
she feels guilt about
That's
not
bizarre.
keeping her
Yeah.
promise
Yeah.
earlier.
But damn, yeah.
And the twins receive.
And the notary is like, I understand promises, so I'm gonna make you guys do this.
He establishes himself as like really close to the family.
Oh, no,
too.
Well,
he's
she was
saying-
her.
He's really good
She was his
friends
secretary, and they were kind of
they were
like
really
friends.
close.
How long was it? Like
Long time.
19 years. I
don't know.
think
He said him and his late wife considered them family.
Yeah, so they're close,
Really
yeah.
close friends.
To
So the twins. Let's see. It's
Jean and
Jean
Simon.
and Simon. Yeah.
I'll put it away. I keep
Please do.
dropping this pen.
But already, I think we see Simon's relationship with their mother was a little more adversarial because he's like again with this crazy behavior.
Yeah.
Like he just wants to bury his mom normally.
Yeah, they
And-
kind of don't go into it other than kind of like those lines of dialogue where she's like, or where he's like, yeah, we can bury her normally and it'll be the first thing
Yeah,
that
you
she's
can
ever
bury
done.
your secretary
she'll
however you want. I'm
she'll
gonna bury
have
my mom
acted
how I
normally
want.
for
Yeah.
once, finally. Yeah.
And
So
I think we forgot to mention that they get two sets of envelopes.
Yes.
One
to
for
deliver one for their father.
that they didn't know was alive, and one to
And
the
one for their
brother that
brother.
they didn't know
They
who
had.
They didn't
exists.
know.
So Simon gets the brother envelope.
Yes.
And
And
Jean
Jean
gets the father envelope. So Simon kind of tells the notary, "No, we're doing it my way. I want to have this funeral normally."
Yeah.
So then we get a scene where they're out by the car and we see Jean. She's deciding to go ahead with the letter and go
Yeah.
find the.
Simon's like,
see
I'm
the
so chill
father."
right now.
Yeah. I think so.
So fucking peaceful.
Yeah. So he kind of implies like I think you just feel guilty because you were there when mom had her stroke.
And you weren't there when she died.
Yeah.
So
So I think then she decides to go, and
then we get the pool scene, right?
I think that is next.
Yeah,
Is
that
we-
is next. Where
she-
because he
before she
mentions the
goes-
accident, and then
Yeah.
we have that.
she stops by the pool.
Then we have the flashback to the
So
accident.
no. First, important thing. She gets the picture in an envelope. She gets a passport, and she gets that cross necklace that her
Yes.
mother had.
That's right.
That
Those
is a
three
thing
things were
about
in the
this
envelope
movie
for her.
is kind of in the structure and with all the flashbacks, some things do get jumbled as far as order of events go.
Yes.
So there will probably be a bit of wait, no, this happened first on this episode.
So yeah, no. Jean decides to go, and she is an assistant to a math professor right now.
Yes.
And he has a contact, because she finds out where her mother went to school. I think it's in Daresh, and he's got a contact there in the school. And so he's like, start there. You can't start with the unknowable variable. You don't know who your father is yet.
Yep.
So start
Never
with what you know.
start.
Your mom went to school here. I've got a contact here. We'll get you there.
We got you.
That is, I guess, that's the introduction of that math problem too, where we get that little
Yes,
snippet of
yeah.
her
A
teaching.
little bit of
and
foreshadowing
That's
to that.
that is the
Yeah.
math problem that you were talking about, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So then she stops by the pool. She's holding up the picture of her mom, and we go into the scene where she's just like out of it. We find out later she has a stroke,
Yep.
and that leads to her death. Then we don't know what quite happened yet, and then we get right into the before. I mean, I guess you could call it a flashback. No one's really remembering anything though, so I guess it's just like
Yeah,
a
it's
different
just-
perspective.
it's
we
just
get the
a,
first scene from Nawal's perspective.
Yes. Yeah.
And she's trying to get out.
Back in time.
Let's just call it a flashback. 'Cause
That's
I feel
fine.
like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
whatever
No, I
you
get it, I
tried
get
to
it.
call it as.
It didn't work.
No.
Yeah.
So we'll call it a flashback.
Yeah.
It might not technically be a flashback. It's fine. Everyone knows what we're talking about.
It's Nawal and her lover Wahab.
Yes,
And I
Wahab.
think they're trying to get out because he's the son of a refugee.
That
And
is frowned
the Christians do
upon.
not like that very much. Her family.
Well, they mention all the Muslims are backing the refugees from the government and
Yeah, of
everything like
course.
that. There's, I mean, right, the basically war torn zone,
So
basically.
Nawal's brothers catch them, and they shoot Wahab almost immediately.
Right in the face.
Yeah,
Right.
and they're about to kill her too.
Yeah.
because
She's brought disgrace upon
from their
the family.
perspective, they-
yeah.
And
She's
then
disgraced the
Grandma goes, "No, come back home."
Yeah,
you
Grandma
naughty
saves her.
little girl. She that was excellent acting from that whole scene
This
was super
whole
emotional.
every
movie.
performance is
The grandmother is also just confused as to what she should do with
Right.
with her daughter or her granddaughter who's just brought disgrace to the family. We find out she's pregnant then too.
I think that's one of the things
That's what saves her.
From life. I don't know, because the grandma's even like, should I kill you?
I don't know, bro.
I don't know what to do.
I think right away it establishes the tone of just, I don't know, blind hate and
which
just
is
the brutality of this world we're in
That's
right now.
what I was thinking. I feel like that's a theme too, because they do like basically, how do they say, the cycle of hate and then the breaking
she
of
wants
that,
to break
basically.
the chain of hate.
That's right. So that's definitely a theme that comes back.
I think so too.
So that's where then we get the scene of the birth, where the baby actually looks like it was just born.
They did a good job on the baby.
I was like,
you were like, ooh, is that what a baby looks like?
Yes.
All pale and yucky. So then we realize that the grandmother's tattooing the baby's
3 dots on the
with
heel.
3 dots. So then we make that connection. Oh, that's the kid from the very beginning of the movie, the opening scene.
Yes.
And then she says,
she tattoos on his back. He's a universal
take one
donor.
good look at your mother so you can remember her when you grow up. And
That
then we
doesn't
realize
help very
that
much.
that the
Weird. that literal newborn baby is like, all right, yep,
he's like, all right,
locked
Granny.
in.
All right, Granny, I
Okay.
got it. Yeah, he just came out of the womb like fully just speaking and everything.
I think before we go too much further, just that scene after her grandma saves her and she's just wailing in the house too. You know, her boyfriend just got shot in the head, and I don't know. It's just established that really heavy tone.
Very heavy.
Yeah, no, you
Just
did
the
not expect. Well,
the gravity of
from the moment that dude
the
shot
world these people
I didn't
live
know
in.
he was gonna shoot him right in the face immediately. Like I thought he was just like,
Oh, this guy's
get
pointing
back,
a gun at it.
Go
No.
home.
Yeah.
Boom. Oh, he's dead. Wow.
Yeah.
That was, and then just chaos. Really. Yeah. Really. That's where the movie really gets dark.
So then the grandma takes the baby, moves it to an orphanage, and she gets sent away to live with her uncle in Duresh.
Yes, where she promises grandma.
Yeah, she's gonna
study school, and after that she'll come back and get the baby. Basically, I think that's like the idea.
That's the deal.
Probably.
Then what's the next scene after that?
It's back to Jean's perspective.
Okay, that's right. She does, this is where she gets there.
Yeah,
right?
she gets to Duresh to meet her contact at the school, but the dude doesn't know anything.
It's a
yet.
dead end, right?
Yeah. So, but he does. She gets a new contact with some effort, and she shows him the picture of her mom.
Is that the janitor?
No.
It was one of the professors that had been around the school, I guess, at the time.
Yeah,
and he mentions that she might have been in the news publishing.
Yeah, the
or
newspaper.
the newspaper, the school newspaper back in the day.
But she shows him that picture, and he's like, "Ooh, that was taken in Kfar Rayat."
Yeah,
so
the
prison.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, if you don't know about that, you're not from around here.
Clearly, not from here.
So it kind of sets up that place as a big deal. And oh boy, is it later.
Again, that kind of looming, that atmosphere that is being created, that there is something that is coming.
I think it sets up everything really well.
Oh, it does.
We have some idea of what it's going to be before it happens, kind of thing.
The setup is done well, and the payoff is equally done
It's
well.
like it just is like very like there's no thing that doesn't need to be there. Everything's explained, but also it's like not too like in your face. It's just very It's a well done movie.
Yes.
I think then we get back to Nawal's perspective, and I think she's at the newspaper.
Yeah,
with
the
her
school
uncle,
where they're about to shut down the school.
Oh yeah,
with a bunch of tanks.
The nationalists are like invading the university.
Yeah. They attack the school, and her uncle thinks this is going to be a powder keg thing. War's already coming over there. It's not going to be very long.
Someone to her is like, "What about your class?" And she's like, "What?"
That's an interesting scene too, because we find out that she is. I mean, I guess we kind of suspected it from the first thing we get with her, but she was a Christian, and she's basically supporting the refugees and the Muslims.
No,
at that
not
point.
yet. I think her.
Or they were. That's right. They were just trying to find a way to peacefully resolve the whole thing.
Yeah, because
right?
later the dude says that's not really what you wrote in the paper. And she said her uncle thought it would bring peace, but I see now that But anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yep.
I think promises are kind of a theme that comes back a lot
for sure.
too.
Yeah,
because her uncle wants to leave because he's scared the war's going to come. Like schools are going to get shut down anyway. Let's go hide out on the mountains until this kind of settles down a little bit. But she wants to go look for her son.
Oh, she's dead set.
Scared. Like the war is swallowing her son.
That's
She's got to go find
that's
him
also
now.
why she wants the university to stay open as long as it can, because she does want to finish that degree so she can provide for her son and everything.
Yes.
So okay.
But when she's about to leave, she's talking to her cousin, I think.
Yeah, tells her she's not going up to the mountains with them.
And
she's going to try to find her
what
son.
about school? You promised grandma, and she's like, schools are closed anyway.
Yeah.
But I know that's another thing, the motif, I think, or theme of promises.
Yeah, for sure.
Put it down.
Once again, he was found fiddling with the pen, and
after promising to not.
Did I promise?
Okay.
You did.
Yeah, this is the theme of promises coming back up.
I'll officially promise right now not.
Swear to me.
Okay. And anyway, she doesn't want to go with the rest of the family up to the mountains to hide out. She wants to go find her son before, because she doesn't want to see him killed in this conflict that's going to explode soon.
So she heads south, which I guess
she sneaks away. She says, I'm going to go get some water, and then she just dips. Yeah. So she's walking for a while, and eventually she makes it to the orphanage, and it is in ruins. Previous attack had pretty much just leveled it, and she's kind of just searching through the rubble, and I think she talks to somebody who's like, where did the children go? And
as someone who was there, the guy yells at her. This is where we get mention. I think maybe we mention it a little at this point, or maybe a little earlier, where we get the name Kemzadine, which comes back later, and we learn that it was his men who destroyed the orphanage because the Christians had attacked. Yeah, it was a retaliation. So
they had killed some refugees.
So basically, everything seems to suggest that the child's either gone or dead. She goes. Where's she go? There's a city she goes to that she suspects.
Not yet, because somebody tells her they may have taken the children to Duressa.
That's Duressa. That's it. Yes.
And so she gets on a bus that's going to Duressa. She hides her crucifix necklace.
Oh yeah,
she's pretending to be a Muslim.
And then she puts a scarf on, around her head,
and they're taking her to Duressa. She thinks so far, and. All's going pretty well so far. She falls asleep, wakes up, bus is at a stop.
Yes,
and
this is yelling.
This is one of the roughest scenes I think I've seen in any movie ever.
No, it's
like
pretty
I was
brutal.
white knuckling. It was almost welling up a little bit. Just some sheer brutality that human beings can inflict upon each other.
So they're stopped on the road by the far right Christian extremists, and basically they shoot the driver in the head. And they
she hears
fire.
an argument going out. She looks out the window. The bus driver's arguing with some masked men.
Yeah, they're all
that's when I was like, this guy is so dead. This is the deadest man I've ever seen.
Well, shoots him, and then immediately
shoots
they open fire on the bus and kill most of them.
Yeah, there's a couple people left alive.
It's her. It is
the mother and the kid,
and then there's this other mother and a kid and a child, her daughter.
They're laying low on the bus, and the Christians get on the roof and start pouring gasoline in. They're going to light it on fire. So it's kind of, they've got it. There's no good situation here. They either have to get out or be burned to death.
This is where she takes out her little crucifix necklace and says, I'm a Christian.
Oh, God.
And then they grab her, they pull her out of the bus. She takes the child because
she knows
the mother and the child.
There's no way they're gonna let the mother live.
She could have. I wish she would have said, we're Christian. Maybe that would have been. But obviously that's a fight or flight. It's a fight or flight instinct for she just thought, I can get away with this kid, and which I think she was feeling.
Oh God,
it was
she was just minor character in the mother too. You see the conflict of like not wanting to let go of my child,
she knows she has to.
I have to if I want to save
my
baby.
So it's crazy because you just Nawal. It's her reflection of how she feels, I think, and that's why she was willing to take that kid, because she knows that, there's nothing more important to me, especially right now, than finding my child. So but obviously the child is screaming "Mom" as they open fire, and then they put it together. Oh, this is not her kid. They take the child out of her hands. She runs and they shoot her in the head, and it's just like, So Nawal, needless to say, is just shocked and just She just fall on the ground in agony and just starts.
Yeah, she's just on her
absolutely
knees. The bus is
traumatized.
burning, and it just is left there. To
and she's
process
there.
what she's just
She
seen.
sits there until the bus is no longer on fire. So however long that took, she just sat there basically and didn't move at all.
And then eventually she does make her way to Duressa, and it is also
it's just on fire,
bombed to hell.
You see bullets flying and missiles and stuff like that.
It's a war zone.
Is that when they play the Radiohead song again when they're going through like there's like some rubble
I'm
shots.
not sure. I think they were playing it once when they were in the bus too.
Well, oops, we missed. It's paralleled with after the bus attack. She's kneeling down as the bus is burning.
Yes.
And it cuts over to Jean.
Oh yeah,
who's on the bus.
Yeah. And she's just having a nice sleepy bus ride with her earbuds in.
Yeah.
And then just playing the Radiohead song again.
Do you think maybe there's also a theme of so we talked about the
this
children.
This is when that theme got solidified for me because it's like they're both going to Duressa pretty much at the same time.
Yeah.
And their trips are so different, and Jean has no idea what her mother had been through to get to that point.
Yeah.
They're having both simultaneous journeys to similar places around in the area.
And I think it's a very awesome parallel. That kind of, I think, does establish that.
Like just putting her on the bus after showing us that scene that also
like
takes place on a bus.
Stark.
Do you think
it makes you think about how lucky you are to never even have to think about?
Well, that's what I wanted to bring up. I was like, do you think
so
maybe there's a
privileged.
theme
Yeah,
of
that's
how there's a theme of how like parents will suffer for their children so that they'll never have to endure the same, or
I think that's some of it. Yeah.
Because I mean, maybe it goes hand in hand a little bit with the theme of not knowing your parents' past, because sometimes I think so, because where is it at the very end? Kemzadine. So I'm going to jump just to point this out. He says, or who is it who says? I think it's him. Someone tells Simon as he's about to find the big reveal at the end. Sometimes it's best not to know.
No, so
who was told that?
It's the janitor who is watching her mother, and he tells that to Jean.
That's it. Who was the prison guard? That's right.
It's about to get into the really rough territory.
Yes,
about to
that's
tell her
right.
that torture comes in, and
so there's something about
mother.
Discovering the parents' truths there, but also like not knowing it, and at the same time realizing that I don't know. There's something that Nawal writes in her note to the children as well about how childhood is a knife stuck in your throat.
It's difficult to remove.
So I don't know. That's something that stuck out to me. But anyways, back to the Jean now, after that brutal, just heart-wrenching scene of massacre. Ugh.
I think it just shows the capacity for human cruelty, especially through the lens of religious extremism.
Yeah.
Like, we are capable of doing so much evil to each other
in the name of
in the
God,
name of
or the
whatever
name of whatever
God
you
worship.
or in the name of whatever extremists in general. I think it's just what people will do in the name of whatever they support. It's just vile. So anyways,
really heavy stuff. So Jean makes it to her mother's village. At this point,
yes.
This is where she meets all the women.
Yes.
So she goes in and she's talking to that one, and she kind of brings her into
the room. They all seem really nice so far.
It's like this whole family. Yeah, it's like a really good, like, tight knit environment.
Community.
Yeah, she mentioned she's a
Marwan.
Yeah, and then they're like, there's a bunch of
Marwans around here.
So you figure, maybe this will be like a nice, like we're all real. They basically, we're part of the same family. You think, they're gonna welcome me back. It'll be a nice warm thing. Then she starts to mention her mother's name.
Yeah,
first she mentions Wahab, who she thinks was her dad.
So she still thinks Wahab is her father.
And we know at this point that he's dead, so that leaves us kind of confused.
And we know that the baby that she had with Wahab is just one baby, not the twins.
The baby with 3 dots.
Christian, don't.
Anyways.
You really derailed that.
Yeah, you derailed, because I was going to jump on it. I was like, no, I'm not going to. So...
You're going to jump on how, even though
what
you were
the heck was I just saying?
Just
okay,
confused as
hold
I
on.
was.
The table.
We know that Wahab is not her father.
Wahab is not her dad. She thinks he is still.
Because that was the father of the singular
But
baby.
we as the audience know that he's not.
That's right.
So we know.
That's right.
They have to be born later.
we that part of the story of Nawal's story is not making sense so far. Or at least they don't know, or at least they don't know the full extent of it.
Yeah.
So
Jean.
Then she mentions that her mother is Nawal. Okay, and then some lady,
Tension.
and then the lady immediately starts freaking out, and they all argue. We don't know her. Yes, we do know her.
They say,
they
say they don't know her. Then one lady starts yelling like, "Yeah, we do."
Yeah.
So the one French speaker there says,
I think it shows just how deep the hatred goes to
again,
after all these years.
Generations.
Generation. Yeah.
Well, it's a generation.
Because I assume the other.
That's how a lot of
they still remember
Marwans are like from like her brothers and stuff. So you have like a generation thing of this family.
I think so. I do think there's some subtle themes here that we can get out of, like with hatred and kind of the whole, forgiveness or trying to resolve this with love at the end. The idea of this, because there's this constant tension between this idea of like extremism, whether it's religious extremism or in this case like it's familial hatred and dishonor, that type of extremism that will basically run in the generations.
I think this just shows like how
trying to break that,
even the people caught in the middle of this like horrible conflict can start to mirror the hatred that these radical organizations.
Absolutely. Well, when you're, I mean, most people in those types of situations, I feel like will become hardened. I mean, they'll just, it's a harsh environment, so you kind of, it forces that upon you almost.
But yeah,
so
it's like a survival thing. Almost.
No one's really wanting to talk to her anymore about her mom.
They actually tell her she's not welcome. She has to leave.
Here's the thing that I think solidifies the theme too is they say you're looking for your father, but you don't even know who your mother is. So I think that kind of solidifies the theme of
absolutely.
We don't know who our parents were before we were born. The lives they led.
Absolutely.
I think then it cuts back to Nawal's perspective.
This is before she's about to shoot the dude in the face.
No.
I think this is where
this is where she makes it to Duressa.
Yeah.
Oh, cuts back. The bus is not burning anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. That's right. That's where we find out she's been hanging out there. She's just shocked. Then she gets to Duressa and then realizes
it's bombed. It's burned.
Yeah.
We kind of mentioned that earlier.
This is where I think she loses.
She goes
all
to talk.
hope.
Yeah. She goes to talk to one of the other organizations.
So this again, where Kemzadine, his name pops up because she's talking to one of his associates about how she wants to help them out now. Yeah, and then he asks, he's just basically asking like, "What do you get out of this? Like, why are you helping us?
You're a Christian."
And she says, It's basically she can't, or she actually doesn't want to forget what she saw and the cruelty that she saw. And she wants to basically avenge that. So it's her little moment of darkness where she kind of allows that to just to fester, and now she's starting to act on it because she's assuming at this point that her son is dead.
I think this is a theme in the movie too, is retaliation, escalation, because a lot of the violence and attacks is in retaliation.
Begets more anger.
Cool 3 Billboards reference.
I love
but I think that's a theme in the movie too, because we hear about retaliation a lot.
Breaking that cycle of violence and of hatred.
Break
because
the chain of anger is
more violence just
stop
it's just the same thing. I can say it again.
Then slams the
no,
table.
but it really does. That's
we see how the attack on the refugees caused the attack on the orphanage, which caused the attack on the bus. Which, or not necessarily that it caused the attack on the bus, but the attack on the bus caused her to assassinate the leader,
put her in
which
prison.
caused them to retaliate and put her into prison. And
God, and what's still, I mean, we'll get maybe I'll mention that at the end, but it's just crazy. Like we're still discovering like the depth of this movie and the layers, like this themes that we just weren't aware of while we're talking about. It's just, I mean, just shows you how well constructed this movie is. It's just awesome. Anyway, so now we realize she's in with the Muslim Kemzadine.
Yeah, and they assign her as the undercover position. Yeah, she's gonna tutor the far right Christian leader's son.
So
in French.
Do we get? Is that what comes up next?
Yeah, I think we're right into that. We cut to her.
She's got a few years later. Yeah, you can tell she's been in there.
So I said, "Oh, is this? Are we at now where she's about to like shoot that dude in the face?" You're like, "No."
I didn't say no. Maybe I did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I did.
Shoot you in the face.
Okay, but she joins up with them. They're gonna assassinate the
nationalist leader guy.
Yeah, the nationalist leader.
Or he's the leader of the Christian militias.
Yes. He's a far right nationalist. So she
I think people get it.
It was more the way I
just to be clear.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a few years, you can tell. I mean, she's kind of gotten
the way they
do close enough.
The aging
very
on this
close
is really
actually, because
good.
isn't she's sitting down having dinner with this family too? Like she's eating with them in the first opening.
Yeah, they're having like a lunch type of thing.
Yeah, so she's
like, I want my son to be fluent in a lot of languages.
So there never has to be a middleman.
Yeah, but she gets the call.
Yeah,
and it's like tomorrow 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
You're gonna do it.
10 a.m.
She's
it is,
like,
and
dope.
it's funny how she just yep,
Well,
which is incredible because
she's seen so much
she's
of
down.
the violence
Yeah.
that this
I know.
man has
And-
caused.
No, yeah,
Because
she's down for this.
Here's the thing: is remember there were the people who attacked that bus.
That's
they had that man's face on their shirts.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
It's like she's just so.
So of course she wants to
There's
kill
no,
him.
yeah,
She's
there's
seen-
no hesitation whatsoever.
She's seen the
No
horror this
hesitation.
man has caused, both to the region around it and to her life personally, too.
So yeah, she when she has the opportunity, she pulls a gun out.
The
of
shot here
little
is
briefcase
interesting.
and just shoots him. Yeah, where you get the
It cuts to her.
That is interesting, actually. At first, it's from behind. You see her pointing the gun at the president. Then, as she takes the shot, it
not a
flips
president.
around. He's the
He's a
leader.
militia leader,
He's a
yeah.
militia leader. Whatever. He's El Presidente.
No,
of the,
no,
he's the high up. He's the high up.
Yeah, okay.
So he
After we just spent like a full minute giving this guy all of his proper titles, I was like, so she shoots the president.
I'm sorry, you, but come on, you know what I mean. It flips around, and yeah, it's actually now facing the camera's facing her
Yeah.
as she takes the shot.
We
It
get the
seems
close-up on
like-
her face,
and she
kills the
it's
man.
like she.
It
she
seems
kinda
like
jokes
to
back a
me,
little
her
bit.
shock is more so of like, wow, I'm actually doing this in general. More of like she feels bad at all. Like
No,
she's
she-
still like,
no,
all right,
no,
let's
she
do
doesn't
this,
feel
she's
bad,
like,
but she's
damn,
just-
this is crazy.
yeah. And so
doesn't
then
feel bad, nor maybe should. She.
then then obviously she's cuffed. They're putting her in the back of a truck, and yeah, that's the end of that scene.
Yeah.
Arrested for shooting the presidente.
He's not the president. Stop saying that. Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm gonna say it as much like the more bothered you get, I think the more I'm gonna say it.
Well, obviously he never comes back in this entire movie, so I hope you don't say it.
Yeah, he is dead now, so you can stop
I'll
talking
find a
about
way
him
to squeeze
forever. Don't. I would ask you to not.
I would ask you to not. Oh, you're funny.
Okay.
All right.
So we're back over to Jean's perspective now,
Yes.
and visiting her mother's village was a complete dead end. No one will tell her really anything. So she remembers one of the leads earlier was the person told her that was far right at the prison. So she goes there to try to find somebody who worked there maybe. And the dude there says like, that was kind of way before my time.
Yeah. Is it still a prison? Like, is it still? Because there's no one there.
They're doing
No.
tours. Of
I remember them.
tours. I think
Oh,
it's
that's
like a
what it is.
historical
'Cause
landmark
I remember
type
they
of
were
thing.
saying the
He's
international
like, hey, get in the
panels.
cell, I'll take your picture.
I remember he was saying like the international panels or like the NATO or whatever were really against the they were actually trying to shut it down, but it was just not.
I think this also kind of plays into that theme too, because it's like, go into this prison cell, it'll be fun, I'll take your picture type of thing.
Yeah.
Paralleled with her mother's horrific time in this.
Those cells are tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, like what?
Well, they say that
5,
these are
6
the women's
feet?
because they're
the
bigger.
women's cells got a little bit bigger,
Oh, that's true.
which is also a horrifying concept.
Which you're
You
like,
see
oh,
your
cool,
cell and
'cause
it's
it's
still
like-
really small.
Yeah,
You could
that
like
is-
barely just like lay down in it or whatever.
You cannot call it big whatsoever. I mean, it's just
No, one would not be able to do
It's
that.
No, it's bigger.
yeah.
Okay, stop.
So yeah, and then
She kind of refers, or the dude who's working.
he
there at the
does
time,
know a
the
guy who
tour
used
guide.
to work there back
Yes,
in the day.
a long time ago. And I think then Jean goes to meet with him. He's a school janitor now.
What is it about all the guys who worked at the prison becoming janitors?
Yeah, there's a pipeline of
Because
prison.
It's I'm just it's
don't know.
not it's nothing.
I have
It's
no
just-
idea.
I just thought it was funny. Yeah, and then this is where we hear what about the woman who sings. Right?
Yes,
This is where he's telling
and
her this.
he tells her
story.
mom. I think it's kind of implied later. Her mom becomes kind of a local legend
Yes,
around
like
this.
a folklore.
She asked him, are you sure this is like this woman? He said, I watched her for 13
Yeah, 'cause she's
years.
She shows
13.
her
13.
He was
She
there
was
2
in there
years
for
later.
15 years, but yeah.
No, yeah, this is the guy I said that could have been played by Mike from Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah.
Stop.
I'm just a janitor now.
Okay. Okay.
All right, I'll tell you everything.
Yeah, Jean shows him the picture. He's like, "Oh yeah, I know her."
So then we find out. Then this is where we get. Oh no, he's kind of explaining stuff, but this is now where we're gonna get the flashback afterwards. We find out she gave birth in prison.
Yes.
Actually, so she got pregnant
Okay.
because
She was unbreakable this whole time, like unbreakable will. She's saying, the entire time.
That's
there.
why
You're saying it drove them mad how they couldn't
they couldn't
get her
break
to
her.
fold.
Yeah. So they sent
close to her release. They sent in a professional torturer
just to make her stop singing.
Yeah, and
that
the dude tells her, like, "Are you sure maybe it's better you don't know this part of your mom's life?"
That's
but
right. That is where
she's come this far, and she
said, "I have to live with it anyway."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tells her, she was raped and tortured by this lunatic, and the performance here is so good too. Yeah, because it's just a close up on her face, and she's just trying to hold back the tears. Yeah, as she's hearing this about her mother.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, she also calls Simon, tells him to get his ass over there because she's like, okay, this is a lot. This is a lot heavier than I thought, and I need you to be here.
And he's still just like,
okay. Yeah, he's got kind of an attitude problem.
As long as I don't have to travel with any notaries.
He doesn't say that.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Where you like quote a character, but it's just nothing that they actually say. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. You see what I'm talking about? Yeah. Anyways, but so
I think here we get another reinforcement of the theme too, because he's getting ready to go. He's talking to the notary, and he's like, "I'm coming with you for sure." He's like, "Why are you doing this?" He doesn't understand how close him and his mom were.
He's like, one, because I care about your mom. 2, you're incompetent as hell.
Yeah, you're gonna probably need help.
So one thing I find interesting, I guess this scene kind of, now that we're talking about it, made me think about this. But Nawal, they called her the woman who sings. She just seems to have this perseverance about her.
She just
keeps
one
going.
Of the strongest,
and that's the one thing that the guard was saying that he admired about her. The guard who was watching, he said, she got out and she looked at them in the eye. She was unbroken, And I find that you get a little bit of that sense in Jean as well, like as if though it was hereditarily passed down to her, because it's in the sense that Jean,
she
perseveres to find the truth, even if it's a fright, and now she realizes that it's getting much, much darker, and she's starting to realize her mother's dark past. That theme that you were talking about.
Yeah,
it's like perseverance with the truth, despite the truth being brutal and terrible.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. That's something that sticks out to me for sure in this movie as well.
Yeah.
So
I think it cuts to her after she's saying like, "Hey, I need you to come be with me
because
right now."
She found out
it's getting heavy.
She was their brother.
And then title card on the screen. The woman who sings.
Yes, yeah.
And it cuts to her just pacing in her cell.
Yeah, she's getting that exercise in.
Oh my god,
getting her steps in.
It really establishes how horrifying this place is. You can just hear the screams and everything. Like, oh my god.
Which is why she starts to sing anyway.
It's truly one of those things that, I mean, even like a movie, it's just unimaginable. Just
had me welling up because of just the horror of it all. I don't know.
No, it's crazy. I'm surprised I didn't cry during this movie. I think it was just so shocking. I think it was just so shocking the whole time. Otherwise, I would be in tears.
This stuff is real, though.
I did, I did listen to, after we watched it the second time, I did listen to the score from the end, which that did bring me to tears a little bit, just because the music there at the end is very touching, and it does fit the tone. So yeah, so she's singing. Then that's where we also get they don't show the rape scene, which I'm glad they didn't.
I don't think it would have
been
any
scenes like that. That's how I feel about this is how I feel about scenes like that in general.
I'm glad Denis Villeneuve had the grace to not.
They're just not necessary. You get
it's kind of, I don't know. It's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, it's already so heavy. I don't think we need to see it to make
the implication is horrifying enough.
That's the thing.
We don't need to see it. And gracefully, Denis Villeneuve is a wonderful director.
No, he
knows how to handle the subject with the grace.
He is very respectful
and
things like that.
Respect of survivors of this crime that it deserves. But we find out like she gets pregnant from this. Too.
Yeah.
And more upsetting scenes.
An upsetting scene where she's trying to abort the baby by hitting
herself in the stomach
really
a lot.
hard. Yeah. So then she gives birth.
Yes, the nurse there helps her give birth.
Yep, and then obviously it's they start talking about the babies, and it's there's 2 of them. The nurse tells her that she'll take care of the children.
Yeah, they're about to go dump them in the river.
Yeah, but then the nurse says, "I will."
She's like, dump them into my arms instead. What's the difference?
Tell them
you did it normally. Yeah. I'll keep them safe until she's released, and I'll reunite them with their mother.
Yeah.
And she does that.
Kindness of strangers. So then let's see. What's next after this? I feel like we're still in this scene.
Well, nurse saves the babies.
Then I think it's Simon and the notary.
Yeah, well,
notary Lebel. Is that his name? Notary, Mr. Lebel.
That's what I was called him. The notary.
That's fine. Well, there's going to be two notaries.
The other one is
notary
a notary.
A notary.
This guy's the notary.
Him and Jean have very similar names, so we're trying not
Jean,
to.
That's true.
Oh,
I think his last
They
name's
have-
Lebel or something like that. So it's fine. But we'll just call him the notary.
Yeah.
He's an important character. Though.
But now it cuts back to Simone and Jean reuniting. They're hugging. He just kind of wants to find her and get out. He has no real interest in fulfilling his mother's last wishes at this point yet either.
They find out the nurse who took care of the baby
kind of drops.
Although to them, they still think it's their brother.
Yes. Yeah, because they don't know it was twins. Exactly. They don't know.
So they hear she's in this hospital, so they go to see her.
Another good performance by like the prison nurse of like recognizing that's
well, that's the thing too, is the notary, because Simon wanted to, he's like, no, there's no way she's going to recognize. There's no way she's going to remember. And then the notary was like, no, this nurse, this is the exact type of person who would remember. It's the same with prison guard too.
Wait,
like,
no, that's not who he's talking about.
Who is he talking about? Was it the guard?
He's talking about the guy.
warlord.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
When he's talking about the dude who has the good memory.
That's right. No, that's right.
Yeah, they get the lead that the nurse was there and that delivered her baby, which they think is just their brother at this point. So they don't know it's
she
them.
starts looking at them like telling them, hey, come, you come
Well,
here, and they're just kind of off. They're like,
here's
okay.
The framing of this that I think is perfect is the translation stuff, because we see her reaction to her getting the information first, but the twins don't have their information yet because it has to get translated back to them. And so we see her like reaction of recognition that these are the woman who sings babies.
And then when they hear the word
and
babies,
she's trying to,
and then
they don't even register it at that point.
It's like I think they're starting to put it together, but it's like twins. They're so shocked that they don't want to. It wasn't until literally the translator said, yeah, the woman who sings had twins.
Oh my god!
And then
boom, big reveal.
Yeah,
no,
crazy.
It wasn't.
Then we get swim.
Yeah, this scene was insane.
Laps. Yeah,
Denis Villeneuve has such a way with that camera. I don't know.
I've never even thought
they're aggressive. They're aggressively swimming laps. Right
they
now,
swim
just
like
to deal with the emotional pain that they're feeling to know that they are the product.
They
of rape.
swim like Larry the Lobster.
Yeah,
he's gonna save that guy.
So they gotta get it out. Until Simon finally takes some initiative and embraces his sister, and because they just need it.
They both stop. They're like, ugh.
It's just so much to deal with.
Just dealing with the gravity of the situation and the information that they've just received, and they just have a good.
I mean, could you imagine?
Good hug.
That would be such
in the pool.
Such a shocking and.
It's horrifying. Just to know that your mother had to go through that in general is horrifying
and that you're
enough.
The product of that, even,
and to know that you are the children that came from that is. A whole
and
other
still
thing
trying to track down a letter to give to your father.
And then still have
and and they still think their brother's out there too. So I wonder what they're where they're putting this together.
Here's the thing next is they're talking with the other notary there too. He's dug through some records.
The notary hired a notary.
Yeah, because
even a notary needs a notary.
But they're talking and they're like, we kind of lost trace of the father. We couldn't find Abu Tariq is his name.
That's the torturer's name.
Yeah,
that's the torturer's name.
Simone is like, maybe that's good.
May, I think is what they are establishing the father's name is right now.
No, that's the brother. Abu Tariq is the father. Nihad of May is the brother.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, yeah, that's right. Abu Tariq is the torturist, and then the brother is what's his name? Nihad of May. Okay, that's right. That's right. Sorry, Abu. Well,
you got it.
I mean, you know.
Okay. So notary tells Simone that they lost track of him, and he takes this as like maybe he's dead, and he's like, that's probably a good thing.
Sounds like, oh great, thanks for the good news.
And he's like, no, I thought I lost track of him.
He wants to just open the letters. He also just wants
he wants to open the
letters.
Like, absolutely not. That is a violation of your mother's trust in you. Do not do that.
Yeah. Then that's where we get. It is now Simone's turn to go. Basically, do his part of the stuff.
Ooh, before that, I forgot to mention, we do see that quick scene of Nihad shooting at children.
Yes. Oh, that's right.
And then we see a sniper up on the roof. Kids are trying to get through the city.
Yeah, the
and
brother.
He just blasts them away. And then it's close up on his heel, and it's 3 dots on the heel.
So you also start.
It's implied that not a great dude their brother is right now.
You don't want to find this dude and give him a letter.
Yeah.
So it kind of sets up tension in that way too, where it's like, this is probably a dangerous man.
He could be.
Could be, maybe.
It's like as if he's a dangerous man.
But now it's Simon's turn to go try to help solve stuff. So their plan is that he's going to go and say he's the son of the woman who sings.
Yes.
And then he should get offered some tea.
Yes. Because
she's the tea.
Yeah.
She is, again, like become a legend around this place. And so their hope is that word will spread that they're looking for their
Mom's
brother.
famous. So they go to the town with they have a contact there as well.
They're trying to find the war. No. Okay. They're trying to find the warlord at this point who took the kids from the orphanage.
Yeah.
So they're trying to have him hear the rumors that the one who sings mother is back. Warlord eventually finds him, because word's been being spread. And this is parallel.
Some tea.
No, Warlord doesn't do that.
Yeah, it's the guy. Yeah, wait, what? This is where Simon with the notary go to the town.
Yeah, but they're just
with
trying
their
to,
contact, and the guy offers.
They're
them
just
tea.
like, please, but that's not the warlord.
Who is that guy?
It's not the warlord.
That's just a dude.
He just knows him.
We're talking about the warlord Kemsidine.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. He just knew that guy as a kid. He's like, we got to catch up.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
And then his whole purpose is just to talk about his mom.
That's right.
And hope word spreads around and reaches the ears of the warlord,
That's
who will then find him.
Yeah, that's right.
And
So it was through this guy they're getting tea with that the word spreads, basically.
Because remember, you don't find him, he's going to find you.
That's right. Okay.
And eventually he does find him.
Sends two dudes who obviously have guns because they walk through a metal detector. And it goes bing, 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 bing.
Okay, yeah.
They were both wearing watches.
Yeah, so then he's blindfolded, obviously, for security and because
for your own
this
safety.
dude
before he gets there, it's paralleled with Nawal leaving the prison
in the car with Kemsidine.
Yes,
and he basically says, "You
I'll
did your
give you
part
another
for
life.
15 years, and I'll give you another life. I'm going to send you to Canada, give you a job, and your children are there." What does she say? She responds kind of.
She kind of stays silent, right?
No. She said like you can't ask.
Yeah,
you can't. And then he said, "But your family, you are family. You are like." So, your kids are basically our children too. So he sends. So that's the guy who basically had, because she had shot the militia leader
and did
was
15
now
years.
He was powerful enough that he could take care of her.
This
and
could be,
her.
I think, maybe why her and Simon's relationship was a little more adversarial, because maybe I don't know.
I get the feeling that their relationship, obviously there were a lot of secrets, and so she probably did a lot of bizarre things that seemed to a normal person who has no context of his mother's previous life, that would seem bizarre and kind of frustrating. But in reality, she's probably doing all this to protect him. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of the
thing is we don't suspect. We don't see her interact with Simone and Jean.
No, you don't
as children or anything.
No,
really.
Yeah, it's kind of all in the air.
But yeah, they send her to Canada with the twins, and then he says, "I'll always be there for you and your children."
So then it goes back to Simon blindfolded in this building with all these dudes, and then this scene's actually called Kemsidine too, which is cool. Again with the titles.
He is the key player in this part. Yeah.
Whew. This scene.
Here we go.
This scene. Just when you thought the movie couldn't get any more intense, you're just like, oh god. So Kemsidine basically tells Simon after Simon tells him the information he already has.
He's looking for Nihad. Nihad is his brother. He's looking for him.
It's his brother.
And he gives him the lore.
He says, my father is Abu Tariq.
Yeah.
Basically,
and we
Kemsidine wants to make sure he's like,
as soon as he says this.
He says like, how do you know that this dude is your brother? That this is your father? He says all the birth records.
He was in this orphanage.
It points out all this stuff and all the facts seem.
And you took him from the orphanage, and
then he's like,
time to be Ben Kenobi.
Let's clear the room. Yeah.
Stop.
You're talking over each other. Everybody is.
Michael was talking over me.
Okay.
See, when I talk, it's just in a single plane. A single plane, but when Michael all talks, it's over me.
Well, you were kind of interjecting into my conversation.
Anyway.
Your conversation with who?
Myself. The audience. Speaking into the mic.
Oh, my gosh.
You will talk over even yourself.
Okay. Well, at this point, Kemsidine tells him, I spared the children when I attacked the orphanage.
Recruited some of them.
Yeah, I took them and they fought for us.
Nihad of May
was a machine. He was among them. and he was a sniper crazed with war. He came back.
Well, because he wanted to go find his mother. He was set on finding his mother.
He wanted to become a martyr. Kemzadin would not let him do that.
He thought that.
I'm sorry, I'm not
having
trying
his face
to.
up all over the place.
I'm not trying to laugh right now. I just saw out the window like a little kid like hit his older brother. Then they went and the older brother's chasing him around the whole greenbelt right now.
Okay. So Kemzadin won't let him become a martyr.
No, he doesn't.
He's like, you're too good at shooting people to be dead.
Okay. I think Kemzadin, we get the impression that he kind of genuinely cares about the people he's enlisting or the people he's associated with.
He's known them since they were literal children.
Child soldiers, so maybe not the best dude.
Well, that's true, but
he did help out Nawal, so that is good.
He feeds them.
Anyway,
so we found out
it's revealed that he was taken prisoner by the Christians. And they turned him into a torturer.
Yes.
They did not kill him. They turned him into a monster.
At the Kafar
some prison.
And he's like, with my father. No, he didn't work with your father.
And then we don't get him saying it just yet, but it is voiced over later that he tells them Nihad of May and Abu Tariq are the same person.
Before that one.
Yeah, so he tells them that. And then Simone goes to Jean's room. And he's looking pretty shaken up.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, you look feverish." He just keeps going on with his question. Can 1 + 1? No, he says 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah,
1 + 1 = 2. Can 1 + 1 = 1? She's like,
she doesn't know what he's talking about at first. She feels him.
He's like,
you're feverish.
He looks at her even like with his distraught face, and he's like,
serious.
Can 1 + 1 = 1? And then she just gasps, and it's like, and that math problem. That's the return of that math problem. We realize in the next scene where it's the swimming pool.
Yeah, it was foreshadowing set up for that. Yeah,
flashback to right before Nawal has her accident, and she is swimming. She just goes to the edge of the pool, and right in front of her, just right in front of her. It's not. She doesn't even have to look around. It's just right in front of her. She sees a foot with 3 dots on it.
Yeah.
And so she goes very slowly up and approaches this man, puts her shoulder on. He looks at her, and guess who it is?
It's Abu Tariq.
Abu Tariq, the torturer.
And Nihad.
So
because they are the same person.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just ugh.
See,
so she says, sorry, monsieur, and she just goes and sits down. She doesn't say anything to him. She just sees his face,
and then
just kind of zones out for a second, says sorry, goes, sits down, and then has her stroke, and she just absolutely.
Imagine this from her perspective too, because for a second
caused a freaking stroke.
Yeah, of course. She peeks over, she sees the 3 dots tattoo. She's like, "Oh my god! After all these years, I get to be reunited with my son." And then to go and greet him, and then be greeted with the face of your rapist instead is, I think that's too much for any human mind to handle.
Your own son, kind of an Oedipus situation there, except even worse. It's just yeah, no, that it was literally too much. That's something that's interesting. That's one of the problems that I think the whole math equation the professor at the beginning was talking. Niv, I think was his name. He says, the mind, when he's talking to the class, he says, the mind will boggle in its complexity and will shut down. He says something like that, and I think that's an interesting parallel there. I just noticed was Nawal had this problem, and her mind just couldn't handle it because it was so complex.
It was too much for
absolutely, that'd be way too much. So,
and we see her in the hospital.
Yeah. Then we go back to Kemzadin's voice, right? Is it his voice? Is it? Yeah, it's his voice over talking to
Abu Tariq and Nahid of May are the same person.
Yuck.
So.
Yeah, as if this movie couldn't break you down any further.
No,
it decides to do it even more.
Yep. Climax.
So then he tells him that he's living in Canada under
a new name,
Harmony. Yeah. So they're like, okay, and then this is where they go with the notary to give him the letters because they know where he is. And the notary cuts to the notary being like, he's just looking at this tab. He's like, in my years of being a notary,
I have seen some shit.
This has really outdone everything.
Yeah. Well, he even mentions when he was seen talking with Simon, like how he had handled these other affairs with all these crazy families.
He's like, I've seen some crazy shit.
He's just looking. He goes, this is something else.
Okay.
So
this is an interesting scene. They're face to face with this man
who is their brother and their father,
half brother.
Yeah.
They're just looking at him as they deliver this. It's, I don't know. What did you get from this? Where do you think their emotional states are at this point, Jean and Simone?
It seems like I don't know. They look like they have. It's hard It's not indifference. It's not indifference. No. They're looking at him like.
I feel like it's reflective of the letters almost.
Yes. So they can look at him as a brother. They can look at him as a brother, but they also are aware of the terrible things he's done.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I think that they have processed it well enough that they can separate those two things, but also.
Well, here's what gets into that later: is Nawal is able to do that too at the end of her life when she writes the 2 separate letters, and I think that's what helps her at the end of her life break that chain in her own life.
That's why she wrote the 2 letters, one to the father, one to the son, and she explains to the twins after he's just reading this. So she starts reading it, realizing that those are his kids that he had with Prisoner 72, is what she calls herself. Races out to find them, but they're gone. They're already gone. So he goes back to his apartment.
She says they know what you did. They know about
who you are. And so then he starts reading the other letter, which you realize, to the father, and it's like, oh my goodness. Basically,
he reads the father one first.
He reads the father one first, so the one to the son, and it's like, she still says, you're beautiful. I recognized you. You didn't recognize me, and
I searched forever.
And
sorry, I couldn't find you much.
And despite everything, you were born out of love, and therefore our children were also born out of love. And so it's like I know that's such a powerful statement. Yeah. It's at first you can hear something like that and you think it's kind of perverse, but I think what she's saying is more of the acceptance and the resolve and the forgiveness.
This happened to me, and now it's
exactly
like
it's not on them how they were.
She really is set on getting this cycle of violence and anger and shame and all that out
for her own sake, especially
for her own and for her children too.
For her own sake, at the end of her life, she needs to be able to separate these 2 people. She needs to be able to grieve the son she lost, and be able to process the horrible things that happened to her with the father. So it's the kind of separation between these 2 people in him,
I feel that she had to do that for herself as well.
She signs off the letters differently, of course.
So she had not only did she separate the man, her son, and the father, the rapist, but she was also separated herself as the prisoner
and the mother
versus the mother and the
she's able to write the different letters to the basically 2 different people she experienced. So it's almost 2 different perspectives of her own life as well.
Exactly. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy movie.
Yeah, a lot to process.
What was pretty weird is like how the poster of this ties into the tattoo on his heel, where it's like the three dots, where the poster has the 3 dots, but it's like dot plus dot equals dot.
I think that was intentional.
Oh, of course.
Like in the movie
with
too.
The tattoo.
Yeah, I think that's also what it was going for with the tattoo, and the poster kind of
that's
capitalized on that as well.
Yep.
I think that at least.
Yeah.
Really cool device that Denis Villeneuve used, and the same thing with it. Are they doing it again?
Oh my god!
Just keep punching.
Oh my god!
He's punching him.
Just stay focused, please.
He's got to sit over.
Okay.
Or else I'll make
all right.
it red
All right.
hot. All right.
Let's get into the last scene.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think the final shot is Abu Tariq standing at Nawal's grave.
Yep.
Because they fulfilled the promise. She has a headstone now, and it's just him standing over that grave. What do you make of that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that.
So here's the thing: we do know that he did want to find his mother.
Yeah, of course.
We did know that he was pretty set on that, and that he was for lack of a better way of describing it, I think he was the victim of a rather difficult situation. I think that scene shows that he was also able to accept the things he did and able to separate kind of the the 2 people. Cause
I think the movie does a good job of not excusing that behavior and that
it's
character.
Not excusing it. I'm saying he kind of was able to accept it and kind of
because her letter to the father does not.
I think a part of it still is just to, like for this scene is just to be a really stark like, oh, I don't know what to.
Here's what I mean.
Make of this.
Here's what it's not necessarily that he accepts. That's maybe not the best word to use. It's more that. So you see when people do a lot of things like that and they're ashamed of their past or they don't want to face it, that they basically run from it. I think that he probably does feel regret. I just don't see any other way of how he'd be able to go to the grave and just stand there. Did he have flowers in his hands? It was just him at the grave, right?
I don't remember if he was holding.
Don't recall. I would have
think
said
he
no,
did.
but the fact you said it now, I don't know.
I can't remember.
He's probably there to grieve.
I seem to remember that for some weird
I
reason.
think like part of it for me is just like I don't know.
It definitely is
because that's
him,
super important if he does have flowers in his hands.
Oh, I think it might be him just dealing with the fact that, you know, I finally found my mother after all these years, and I was a fucking horrible person.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he did, but for some weird reason, like I'm thinking, I think he did have flowers, but I cannot verify that. Anyways.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, that was Incendies.
Yeah.
The most emotionally draining movie I've seen in years.
Yeah, in literally
maybe ever.
years. There were other movies that they hit in different ways. I would say probably at the same level. I mean, honestly, The Babadook was a movie that also hit me very.
Whoa.
Listen.
Hottest of
I'm not
takes.
okay. So this is what I'm saying. It's different. I'm not comparing them by
Don't
any
burn your
means.
hand on that
I'm
hot take.
Oh my god, I'm not comparing them. I'm saying the way that they
I
kind of punched me in the face with
the
the
dot
whole,
of this movie plus
Because-
the dot of the Babadook equals dot.
No.
What does that equal? I'm curious.
You tell me.
You're the one
I
who
feel
set
like
up
the
that equation.
massive
I'm not
burden of
comparing them. I'm just basically saying that they had a similar effect.
Michael,
on
2
me.
seconds earlier. It's kind of like the Babadook. Cut to now. I'm not
I'm not
comparing.
comparing.
in how it
Affected
just
you.
assaulted me. Okay.
Yeah.
Old Boy is
Old Boy.
a more
Well,
similar movie.
okay, yeah.
that
It's much more
actually
similar
also
movie.
had a similar effect.
With a similar ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just I mean, if you haven't seen it, I would recommend.
But
highly
do
recommend seeing
Be
it.
wary
It's-
of the content in this movie.
We already talked
if
about
you're
that
going to watch
beforehand.
it.
Well, yeah,
That's
yeah.
if you're going to listen to
Yeah,
this podcast.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Sorry for me for covering these bases.
no.
I mean, we kind of
No,
talked
please
about
You
do.
can
everything.
cut this out if you want.
You're right.
I mean, we did talk about everything in the movie. So, anyways, yeah. Anyone else have anything last things we want to say?
Did we plug the
No,
Spotify?
we didn't.
No, it's okay. It's fine. I think we can do it. It's fine. Listen to us on Spotify. If you're
and-
already doing that,
Well,
Thanks.
we're
Good
not
job.
just on Spotify, guys.
We're on.
Hey, good
we're also
job for
on
listening to
Overcast.
Okay.
More
Is that what it's
importantly,
called? Is that what it's
I
called?
think so.
Overcast. More importantly, share us with all your friends and family.
Spread us around. Like like all your friends are a piece of toast, and this podcast is some good old small butter.
Pass us around like a bong or a
Okay.
a bowl of popcorn.
Well, this has been Theme and Variation. I'm Cole.
I'm Christian.
I'm Michael.
And have a good day.
Or night.
Or night. Whenever.
Bye.
Remember, 1 + 1 =